think I'm live now. Just double checking real quick. Am I live? I don't think so. Apparently I am. Alright, sweet. I am live. Now, I've got no way to check the comments at all, so if I'm not responding to your comments, then that's why I don't need these. Alright, so yeah, this is kind of random, because I haven't been streaming in a while. It's too bright. So, I haven't made any content in a while, like, full stop. It's too dark. Yeah, so I haven't made any content in a while, full stop. Here I am streaming, what am I doing? So pretty much I had this thought, there's something that I wanted to do, and it is something very important if you're trading. So it is building your trading plan. Now, when you think about building your trading plan, now I do have a trading plan and everything, but it has been altered slightly here and there as I've made adjustments, which I'll talk about. But it's not just how do I enter, how do I get out, where do I take my profits, and how do I manage my trades. So I've got a whole, wait, is that the right page? Yeah. A whole bunch of questions here. I'm going to type them out for you. So like I've got all this here. There we go. So I'm going to type them all out here because these are questions which I actually want to get out and like something I can see physically, because there's just a lot that's been going on with trading, so I want to be able to see it like out on paper. So that's what I'm gonna do. I might have my phone to check comments, but to be honest, I don't want, like, I'm not gonna be talking too much. I'm just gonna be concentrating on this, and I guess you'll be able to see what I'm doing. But let me just open this up and see if I can view comments and this and that. So I'm going to start off by writing out the questions which I want to answer for myself. Here. And this is what we're doing. So it's an Asian session case study. And these are the questions I want to answer. So, what am I looking for? So I'm going to do technically, so technical analysis wise. I'll do it like this. So, patterns before during Asia. Does my model work here? Is it? Is my model applicable? Success rate. Statistics. So that's the first section. Then I've got a bit of back testing which I want to do. So pretty much I want to answer some questions for myself. This glare is a little bit annoying. I'll take these off when I'm talking to you guys. So I've got these like questions which frame my trading plan pretty much. So what am I actually looking for in a technical sense? What patterns emerge before and during Asia, like Asian session, which is the time frame which I trade? Is the model which I currently use applicable to this time range? And what are the statistics behind this? And this is where I need to actually go in and back test. So I feel like a lot of people don't. I mean, it helps so much. I guess it's the work behind trading, you know, besides trading itself, but it's going in and figuring out things for yourself. This is where you learn all your pattern recognition and all that. So next up, I've got back testing New York since 2023. Find patterns again, same thing. So the purpose behind backtesting New York is, look, that's what I used to trade when I was going on live. So I know there's some pretty good setups there, but the market has been really tricky lately. So I don't know if it's because I've just moved into Asian session and it's a little bit harder to trade, something I'm not used to, or if it's because like the seasonality thing where the market is a little bit tricky. So I want to like figure it out because, like I said, these are questions for myself, and these are questions which you need to know what's going on, because I guess most traders will just trade, and then if something is not working out in like their favor, or it's a bit choppy, it's something's off, they just take it as it is, whatever, I must be wrong, questioning this, questioning that. If you question yourself, then like you need to be like on point with your trading plan, because if you're not, then how do you know it's not a fault in your trading plan? How do you know it's not like seasonality? How do you know it's not this? How do you know it's not that? That's why I'm breaking all of this down. So I want to know, am I just trading, like, does the market seem a little bit more difficult to trade because seasonality, or is it just because I'm trading in a different session? So that's what I'm trying to figure out there. So I want to find patterns, and then again, success rate, and statistics. Next, I want to do a Forex case study. Oh, Forex. Why does Dion want to go back to Forex? It's not what it is. Surprise, surprise. That's New York. Thanks for both. So honestly, like, this is gonna take me a while, and I don't plan to stop live streaming until all of this is done. So I just finished my third coffee for the day. It's about 2 shots in each. I'm thinking about cracking through to 8, but last time I did that, like, my body was spasming and I got cramps in my legs, so probably not a good idea. Gather statistics for both. Okay, then there's some other things in my trading plan. So trading plan. So after all the analysis will be done, these are things I want to talk about in the trading plan. General rules. Okay, so this is, I guess, what you need. I mean, what I believe we need. So I have Ethereum open. I'm not going to do it on BTC because I'm currently trading BTC, and I kind of, yeah, I'd rather do it on something else that, like, yeah, I'd rather trade it on something else. So my roommate just got home, so I've got a feeling he might barge into my room at some point. He doesn't know that I'm streaming, but I guess we'll tell him when he's here. Okay, so first off, we'll go here. I don't need this anymore. Asian session, what am I looking for technically? So here I'm going to work on the patterns before and during Asia. So here I've got it highlighted. I'm using the indicator, the like session range tool, whatever. I just went over here, over into indicators. I typed in session, and then there's sessions on chart. I click that, and then it'll pop up here. You can go into settings, choose which session that you want. You see I only have Sydney session because that is the Asian, like, part of Asia that I trade. So I've got that open. So now automatically you can see it's shaded blue. This is the time that I trade. My time will always be set default to New York, by the way, because that's what my trading plan is based around, New York time. So this is what time it is in New York at the moment, 3:30. I start trading roughly 5 p.m. New York time. Now this is something that needs to be noted. So what am I looking for technically? And time wise. Okay, how am I gonna do my? Let's give myself some space here. So time 5 p.m. New York. Let's do 5 p.m. to roughly, if I'm trading until 1:30 my time, that's 5 hours. So 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. New York. So now that I've taken note of this, you can see here, what am I looking for? Patterns before. I need to make that connection, like what's actually happening around this time. 5 p.m. is the end of London. Give me 1 sec. Yo, I'm live streaming at the moment. Yeah. Oh yeah, no stress. Alright, so like I said, I gotta take notice that around this time, 5 p.m., that's the end of London session. This is something which I use in my current trading plan. I do use the range of London to sort of, or when I was trading New York, to frame my trades. So if we go over into here, New York session on the London session on the New York time frame is 2 to 5. Well, that's like the kill zone I use. So here, 5, 2. Alright, it's just after, my bad. So 2 to 5 here. We'll go start from here. No. Yep, so just after Asians, like, yeah. What's going on here? Is this, let me double check. Yep, New York time. Why is this different? 2. Alright, I've encountered my first issue. 2, 5 to 2, 2, 5. Okay, now it's consistent. Alright, so London session on the New York base time is 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So that's what I have highlighted here, but it's being a bit choppy for some reason. So 2 to 5 straight. 2 to 5. Okay, sweet. So that's just after. Now that kind of messes things up a little bit for me because, like I just said, I like to trade. When I was trading New York, I keep getting this mixed up. When I was trading New York session, I used the London range. Now Asia, as you can see, is behind that, so it is a little bit before. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark up my charts as usual. I always find the 12 a.m. open, like there. Then you can see the London range. So I'll mark out. Sorry, London. I'll mark out London highs and lows. So until 5 there. There's the low. It's broken. And then the high is actually at the open, which is eventually it's taken first, and then the lows. Okay, so this is how I would usually do it, right? I'd wait around here, and this is when I was staying up until like 1 to try and catch these kind of moves. But now I'm trading towards the beginning, so we'll go back. That's the time, and I'm trying to find out like what's happening before and after. So usually it's mostly done don't want to say through intuition, but it is in my head, but now I'm trying to, yeah, put it on paper. So let's see. Just gonna go over here to make it, no, gotta get used to this. Okay, what am I trying to identify for myself? This is a lot harder than I thought it would be, to be honest, to like put it out on paper. Because usually it's just done. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna refer back to my journal, because every time I do a trade, I write down what I see, this and that. So actually, for example, we use today's trade. So I'm in a trade at the moment here, going long, as you can see. So for today's trade, this is what I looked for. This is what I saw. Because I had a long bias, I looked for some sort of like a double bottom or sell side liquidity to be taken. As you can see here, sell side swept. So what this does is tricking people into like, okay, look, we're going short now. I have a target much higher up here. I do feel like majority of this move is going to be rebalanced. It was like caused by the news. I do want to see it rebalanced. It may not. It doesn't matter. Into this order block here. So that's why my bias was long. I'm looking for price to pull up and take each of these. I do feel like there is a lot of liquidity in here. I am honestly I am bearish. I do feel like price is gonna continue its way lower, but before that we do need to take more buy stops. So for example, there's this sort of like a double top looking thing here. So yeah, pretty much I'm looking for price to go up before it comes back down, and that's why I look for sell side to be swept first. So we can write that down here. So I'll put it this way. Liquidity to be swept. Opposing bias. Side of bias. I guess it kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me, and I guess that's what matters. Liquidity to be swept. Opposing side of bias. Right, easy, because this needs to be simple. Like, how can I say it? So, what am I looking for? Okay, let's keep it simple. Relative. For price to run to. Which indicate liquidity for price to run to. Okay, sweet. For example here, relative equal lows, liquidity, price would run into it, but also referring like target wise, I do like to look for like very like relative highs or lows for price to run through, because generally those are the strong resistance or the strong support which people think are going to hold, which most of the time don't. I don't know, I should get off of that. Okay, we can see it here in Ethereum as well. Relatively equal lows. I wonder if there's a fair value gap in here, which price actually targeted as well. So yeah, like technically it wasn't balanced. Came through. Let's go into the 1 minute. So I guess price did balance that one here. Yeah, so it balanced the fair value gap, took liquidity down there. Relative equal highs or lows, which indicate price. Highs or lows, which indicate liquidity. Price to run to, and a fair value gap. And the same spot. No. Because that's for the target. That's what I'm looking for. So for example here, in this case going long, this is what I mean by like a relative equal highs to target. We use the highest point here. And as you can see, like price keeps poking up here. I feel like people are just going short, 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 short. So there is a lot of liquidity building up here. This is what I'm looking for price to eventually like run into. So that's what I'm talking about on a right swing high or relative equal highs for price to target. And then I need to find, what am I looking for invalidation? So according to my rules, like invalidation is literally the bottom, like, well, if I'm going long in this case here, I'm just gonna use the trade which I'm in at the moment as an example. So in this case, like below the candle, which includes the fair value gap, so I use the bottom of the swing because there's two ways you can do it. If you want to be sort of like a little bit safer, you can use the bottom of the swing. If you want to be riskier, then you can use the bottom of the candle, which includes the fair value gap which you entered upon. But yeah, I decided to use the swing in this case because, I mean, would have been a better idea, but I didn't because it's not what I wanted to do at that point. But that's in the case of going long. If you're going short, then yeah, vice versa, and it'll be the top of the candle. Do I need to? Yeah, I'll write it down. So depending on direction. Fair value gap or below slash above swing. So what am I looking for? I've got my time here, like I said, time wise. So it's 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. New York. Relative equal highs or lows, fair value gap. So this is what helps me set up the trade. So price to target. So I've got what sets up the trade. I've got what I'm like looking to target. Ooh, there we go. Liquidity matrix is priced in a premium or a discount. See, this is why it's important to like get it all out, because I know this is all in my head, but every time I'm trying to refer, for example, if I'm trading and I'm trying to like tick off my trades, right, I can be just journaling it as per usual, but if this isn't in front of me, it's so easy for this just to like sweep out of my brain. So that's why I'm putting it all out here. I do believe by doing this, I will be taking the highest quality trades I possibly can, and that's the whole goal of this. So liquidity matrix is price in value gap. Okay. Let's see. Let's refer back to the trade. What was I looking for here? I'm gonna turn off the session thing. And I guess according to my trading plan, I also need to keep the first target I'm looking for. Because, for example, if I'm going long, there are going to be swing highs, which I'm going to target for price to take liquidity from. Now, my plan, it's been so long, like, because when I was live streaming, you know, you saw me trade live and I was talking you guys through what I was actually doing, and now things are pretty different. So, in regards to trade management, what I do now is, if I risk, or whatever I risk, X, if when price hits 2X, I close 50% of my position. What this does is it secures 1%, and then I move my stop loss to break even. So then I've got the other half of the trade running risk free. What is the purpose of this? Well, I'm trying to think of trading, like realistically, how much do you want to make? How much capital do you have? Like, what are your goals, like, performance wise, weekly, monthly, whatever? I've determined that 1% a day is enough. So once I've reached that 2R, close 50% of my position, that's what I need for the day. That's already secured. The rest is just extra profits. So for example, today my 1% has already been secured. Whatever price wants to do is whatever price wants to do. If it wants to reverse and take me out at break even, I'm going to let it. If it continues to rally, that's more profits, then perfect. But my work's done, so that's what I've started doing. Ask yourself, do you have goals which you're trying to reach, like, performance wise with your trading? Do you have a percentage or amount of money which you're trying to make per week, per month, or whatever? Otherwise, like, you don't know what you're aiming for, and if you're like, oh, I don't know what the markets sort of are going to give us, so I don't know how much I'm going to be trading this and that. Well, I feel like if that's your answer, you don't know your model well enough and you haven't backtested enough. Because if you did, then you could apply the backtesting, like I will today, you know, across however long you want, and you can generally figure out, okay, this is how much this is how many times my model occurs. It occurs during this time. You can get a rough estimate. I know that my model occurs very often, so I am very confident to say that I can take a trade every day if I want. It may or may not be in the time I want to trade, but yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I've set that thing for myself, 5% a week, and I cut it off there. So that's why I need to find, did I write it down already? Swing high or relative equal high rise to target. So I'm going to I'll do it separately. Profit targets for trade management. A question I had for myself, which I'm going to put here in bold, is should I aim for 2R, which is like 2x, like 2 times my risk before I close 50%, or should I aim for a technical target, for example, a swing high? How am I going to know which one to do? I have to go in and backtest it and actually see which one is going to work out more favorably. So I'll put that in bold. So just to recap, Asian session case study. This is, you know, everything I'm doing here. What am I looking for technically and time wise? I know the time that I'm trading. I've got the setup here. We'll put this in bold. What I'm looking for a setup: liquidity matrix, so, price to target, so that's like our target, something for trade management, and this is my invalidation. I want to, like, can I expand this? I guess not. Okay, so now I've got to sort it out. I'm gonna annotate my graph now. Sorry, my chart. So this will be the best way to do it. We'll just snip that there. How am I gonna do this? Want to be able to put my graph out there and then draw arrows across into it so I can like point it out. I mean, do I really need that? I think no, I don't need that. Okay, never mind. Okay, patterns before and during Asia. So there's no doubt during Asia price runs. I'll show you here on the hourly. Or maybe the 15 minutes, since I am trading on a smaller time frame these days. There is opportunity, right? You can see there is volatility. There is quite a bit. So there is movement, which means I can trade it. So let's go into this. Let's find out, like, you know, what's actually happening. I'm gonna sort of go through this like I've never done it before. I think that's going to be the best approach. So before Asia, I'm gonna mark out the swing highs and swing lows to see if I can find some sort of like structure being broken or if there's something happening there. So I'll clear this because I don't need it. So before, now I'm gonna choose to do this on the 15-minute time frame. Now it's like, oh, how do you determine which one? Yeah, good question. Let's do the first 3 days like this. Okay, so I reckon what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at where does Asia start and where does Asia finish. Now this entire highlighted range isn't going to be the entire time I'm trading. Realistically, I'll go over here into my time. So from 8:30 to like 1:30, right there. So put this like here. So this is the time, realistically, which I will be trading within these red lines. So yeah, let's see. What did we find here? First off, I mean, it's a very similar setup, and I hope it does play out like this. But we had the relative equal lows here. Swing low, swing low. Also, we got price, like, take into consideration, like I said, where it started, where it ended. This is a bullish day. How did the day start? We came down first. We took out the liquidity below these swing lows. This is very similar to what we saw in the trade which I took. Were there any fair value gaps in balance? I mean, let's see. So we'll snip it up. Will it let me? Yes. So the last one which I can find, I mean, pretty much balanced, to be honest. BTC is not going to be as smooth as Forex pairs when it comes to trading this method, so you gotta take that with like a grain of salt. Also, I am trading Asia. It's not going to be the easiest to trade, but this is how I perform my best, so that's what I'm gonna do. So like I said, we had these like digs for liquidity at the start. We didn't really have that market structure shift. A little bit. It's a bit of a messy day, to be honest. It's a very messy one there. Patterns before and during. Alright. I think I'm going to do this in a general sense, since I'm going to have to go through a lot of days to find data. So I'm going to stick with the 15. The 15-minute time frame is the thing which I use like just generally. Can look for setups, this and that, everything done in the 15 minutes. So I think I'm just gonna go with that, and I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm not gonna try and analyze it too much. So price down before up on up day, simple, and then we'll go and find patterns. Again, you can see here price up before down on a down day. That's interesting. Here's an up day. Did price dip below some lows before coming up on this during this session? Kinda like up, down, whatever. So you can sort of see this. I mean, you can identify this here. It's price tapping into the fair value gap. But is this an appropriate fair value gap to use? Okay, I'm getting too distracted again. Go back to this. Let's see. I don't know how to claim it. It's too similar. I think we're gonna have to go into a smaller time frame to sort of suss this out. Okay, it looks like price set up some sort of like relative lows here for price to break down into before going up. That's gonna be, so that's already here. This is what I'm seeing a lot of. Relative equal highs or lows, fair value gap and order block. Not so much the fair value gap and order block. These three together were paired very nicely during New York session. So that's what I really liked about it. But so far during Asia, not so much. But somewhat like similar structure. Let's see. Was this an up or a down day? Price up like here. Fairly neutral day, to be honest, but let's see if we can find any patterns. Before price opened, you can see here's the swing highs, here's like the last swing low. So it's like we broke through swing highs here, got the liquidity, somewhat filled this fair value gap, tapping into the order block here. Let's use this entire range. Fair value gap, is it within the like premium? Sort of just touched it, not really, debatable, but you get the gist of it. That's sort of how that works. So the up before down, I'm not even gonna type it anymore. I'm just like going through myself just to have a look at this, because this is like sort of how I learn, just by looking and marking it out. Now this one really didn't break any like relative lows. This sort of just came down for this fair value gap here. Before launching up. I guess here are the relative lows and highs. Oh, sorry, the relative highs. So price was setting this up as like resistance. Price came down, yeah, and burst it up. As you can see, that's very nice. That's what I like to see. This one's a little bit choppier. Now, if I mark it out, I can clearly see here the relative equal highs and lows, which price pinned through before coming down. So I guess it's not a matter of where does price go to first, like does it go down first or does it go up first. It's where are the relative equal highs, or where are the relative equal lows before Asia. Does price sweep those before continuing the other way? How am I going to know if it's going to go the other way? Well, I need to see if there's a pocket of liquidity which it's actually aiming for. So I'm going to continue. Again here, a bit choppier, but before it opened, and I know I'm on the, oh no, I'm on the 3 minute. Okay, that's fine, that's valid. The relative equal lows here, which price spiked down, came up, Now, it was a bit choppy. Like, that would have been scary, honestly, going back down that close. But ultimately, I mean, after Asia, it did take off, as you can see, with this rally. But so far, we're starting to see this pattern emerge, which I kind of knew was already there, but now I'm just consolidating it with myself. In this case, not so much. Price honestly just rallied the whole day. Prior to Asia, what did we have? I mean, I don't trade this, but I'm pretty sure it's called the breaker pattern. ChaiCT teaches. I don't trade that, so I'm going to just leave it. It looks like a very low liquidity day. You can see by all this. So again, price came through for the highs, took that out before making the low. What was it? What's all that? Just gonna leave these on the chart. Here's another. What was this day? Very fair. Like, not much happened that day. Not much volatility in the market there. Clear down day. It's a fair value gap. Some highs getting taken out. But this broke the low first. So if this came down, broke the low first, and then formed the relative equal lows, this formed something for price to come down and target. So we broke through there first, formed the double bottom. See, this would have been kind of tricky because it came up here, didn't really break the high, so market structure was not shifted until this move, which was very sudden, filled the fair value gap. Yeah, so this is pretty sporadic, some crazy shit what happened there. So honestly, this would have been a very tricky day to trade. I don't think I would have participated in this. Again, a very fairly equal day. What happened here, if I was to identify what we've discovered so far to be the trigger to the trades, the relative equal highs here, which got broken first, and the last swing, price did it come down to target eventually. I mean, I guess at some point after Asia. This does go into the 50%, but it does not tap in. Honestly, like, if this was a trade I wanted to take, I would have waited for it to retrace up into a premium before going into a discount. I want it to be within this order block here, which sets up the fair value gap. So this is the trade I would have liked to take. But as you can, oh, it did come through in the end. Okay, well, interesting. It did come through in the end. Oops. So yeah, that was the Fibonacci. What was I saying? Before Asia started, here's the swing highs, which we saw price come through to target. Smash that. It looks like it also... Am I tripping balls at the moment? Did this just move? Because I know this is the... That's weird. Oh, no, this is correct. Is it? Wait, what happened? I swear this thing just changed position. Oh, okay, I'm looking at two different things. That's right. So, as I was saying, this is the one I would have liked to target, but I thought it wasn't going to reach there. But what I did take notice of is it did. But I wouldn't call this a trade. Why? Because I'm not entering here. Like, this is where, if I had set a pending order, then maybe. And yeah, I can just sit here and claim it like, oh yeah, this trade played out. But I'm going to be honest, this isn't a trade I would have taken. So this is how it would have looked. And extend it out. That's where it would have hit target. But there's no point, I'm not trading there, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, this would have been a missed entry. That's what I'm trying to say. This is a nice setup, but it didn't pull up high enough for me to like want to enter. Here we saw the fair value gap get balanced. Didn't really see... Not a very clear entry, in my opinion. Okay, so far this is making sense. Pattern string Asia. Is my model applicable to the time range? That's the next one. So is my model applicable to the time range? Okay, so now I need to find a different pair which I haven't traded to eliminate bias, I guess. And see, does this work? And actually, like, test it. So where are we in New York time at the moment? So I have a little sus. Go New York. Alright, so we're currently in London session at the moment. 2 o'clock. We've set a high here, which looks like it is in close proximity with these swing highs. So we may be looking, or we may be seeing price come through and taking out these relative equal highs based on what we've just had a look at. Yeah. Where is price heading? Why is it going down? It looks like it's coming and it's filled this entire move. So we've taken out these lows. Yeah. Oh. Actually, I'll do this. green. That's my target. That's where I want to see price come through. Why do I think, look, we'll be conservative. We'll put it here. Relative equal highs. Price is refilling this fair value gap after breaking through like these relative equal lows here. So broke through the lows. That's making people go short. If we look at open interest, it looks like price is, yeah, like I was thinking, it's probably going to be heading up. Open interest is increasing. Why? Because people are entering positions. So this would be the fair value gap in here, and a little one in here. Order block, it's tapped into that, and we've set up these relative equal highs. This would be an interesting long to take. I'm not going to because it's not a part of my trading plan. I don't trade at this time, but it would be interesting to go long from here. So that's what's currently happening. Now I'm just going to go do some testing. Let's go to ETH. So now we'll just, just go back here. Yeah, now we'll just back test, I guess. Just gonna wait for Asian to start. Should kick in with that blue square. There we go. So what do we have so far? What do we have before we started? Got these relative equal highs here, which we have had broken first. Next we have this swing low. We got price forming a little low there. Just want to have a look at what we've seen so far. I'm seeing relative equal highs here and here. I don't think that this punch above was enough, because as you can see, it just came down here, balanced out and came back. So I am looking to go long, to be honest, looking at this. I'm just going to stay on the 15-minute here. So we formed that. Let's see. So we opened here. We came through. Swing lows. Everything's balanced here. So I'm going to move this up here. I'm just next to my screen, so I can't actually see that properly. So since I'm going long, that broke that. That's opened the fair value gap, market structure shift. Awesome. So then we'll just look for a pullback after a swing's been formed. So there's your swing high. I want to look for price to come into a discount, which it has. Now, honestly, that's the first fair value gap, but I'm going to stay in the 15-minute time frame. Like, it would be valid to enter there. Since we are on the 15-minute time frame, we're just doing that. Why? Fair value gap here, market structure shifted, tapped into the order block 2. All of this is balanced according to the 15-minute time frame. Put price just below the second, because there is another fair value gap there, so we've got to take that into account. So all we're looking for is 2R, because that's what my plan does. Okay, we were stopped out and then price came up. So this is something I need to consider. What happened? Price came through and, yeah, dug through that. Now, I did put my stop loss there because that was the swing low. But, yeah, price actually came through and, like, double dug. So it dug into the lows, which was created in Asia. So I need to take that into account. I'm going to write that here. So, 4. So in this case, it was during. But as you can see, the bias was there. It's just the invalidation was incorrect. Okay, so here's what we got so far. Like I said, I was looking for the swing highs to be taken. We've actually had that on the previous day. Now we've come through for another reach, and we've tapped into this one just above here. Strong move here. Let's analyze this a little bit. Look how strong this price snapped. What that's indicating to me is that some sort of liquidity was taken. Strong snap, strong move up, fair value gaps formed. So now I'm asking myself, am I, what's my bias? Like, we did leave these lows here, right? But this was taken, so more than likely, where did price not get to? Yesterday's lows. Yesterday's lows during Asia were left, equal. So let's wait for Asia to start. Here we go. What do we have? Got the swing high beforehand, the main one, and then we got the swing low before it started. Now, realistically, if I was trading at the moment, what would I be looking for? What is my bias? Or it's hard to tell without the daily, because I do use the daily. Okay, we had the low taken. This fair value gap was not touched though, which makes me don't really want to enter. That's why we got that fair value gap balanced. I wouldn't call this one the order block. I would prefer this one, but that is the last fair value gap. If we are continuing the trend, which this does suggest, this model, then this would be the position to take. Although it is a bit uncomfortable for me. Oh, no, it's not. Because I only enter when it's in the discount if I'm going long. Okay, it was in the discount. Oh, no, it balanced. Okay, I have a rule for this. So what happens if it balances it and then comes back up? There was an entry. It's in my other journal. So you can use, I think they said the top of the... So if it pretty much comes back and taps into there after being balanced. Which it does. So then that would be the entry, and then following standard rules. So, well, there's a second one there, so it would be below that candle. And then, like I said, we target 2R. And it stopped out again. So let's see, where did price go? It did come down into this, what's called the order block, but I don't like that because it doesn't have a fair value gap. Now, it may, I got to consider, because I am on the 15-minute time frame, and we do see these in the 3-minute and the 1-minute, but because I'm back testing, like, you can't go very far back. So unfortunately, I mean, look, let's see, it just gets a little bit annoying. Sometimes it lets me, sometimes it doesn't. So here's a fair value gap that's unbalanced. This would be a nice entry in here, which is tapped. Why? I'm not just claiming it because it's there. I've said it like many times. You got the order block within the fair value gap. Market structure shifted with that like plunge into liquidity. So that's why. And then that below the candles. There. And then, yeah, we just want 2R. Which it eventually does hit. So, that's following that. That's nice. That's like giving me more confidence in the plan. Because I'm seeing it play out like the way my original plan. This goes back to answering, is my model applicable to the time range? So far, yeah, seems like it. See relative lows here. But doesn't look like price left anything unbalanced. So going back down there. Didn't quite make it down to these relative lows. This is honestly what I would have been targeting. Well, not targeting. I would have liked to see price come down here at some point. I wonder if it does. Oh, came right down. So yeah, took out all these highs before coming down for this big. So this is good to consider. If you see these relative lows and then price just making higher lows, and it keeps building up, and then we get a shoot above the resistance, then more than likely, you know, you're gonna see this big grab. So this is nice. Don't need this anymore. Is my model applicable to this time range? Nice. It's New York. Not so clear. Success rate statistics, that's gonna require backtesting, so that's all this. Because I haven't traded New York so far, so this is gonna be all new stuff. So, nice analysis. Clear all that. So that's what I want to backtest now, all this, and see if it works. See if it's a little bit smoother in New York. Yeah, if it is much smoother, then I'll consider going back to trading New York. But yeah, it's getting a little bit tired now. So we got a good amount done here. Pretty much what I got to do now is backtest all that. Am I better off trading Forex? How am I going to figure out? So which pairs move in Asia? I'm going to talk to Ali about that. And probably just the Asian pairs, I guess, or like the Aussie pairs. So I got one batch of backtesting to do, 2 batch of backtesting to do. This is pretty much done. Like, that's all answered. This is New York, so that's not going to be that. Okay, no, that's good. Okay, I know I said I'm going to stay until all of this is done, but realistically, like, my brain is fried at the moment, just concentrating and going through that, so I'm ending it here. Hope you guys learned something, and I don't know when I'll be live or when I'm on next, but yeah.